Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hey, Dills and Heartless. This is Gorkies from Australia. I've been playing RuneScape since around 2003, and I've been listening to the podcast for around 2 or so years now. I just want to say great work with all the podcast episodes, and keep it up. It's really entertaining. Love it all and can't wait for new episodes.
Hello and welcome to episode 230 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dills, and joining with me today is Heartless.
Dills, what's up?
That was our in-house audience, in-studio audience. Yeah, in-studio audience.
Oh no. What have we done? We let him have a soundboard.
It's not a soundboard. This is the first time we've opened up the podcast. We're doing a little bit of a live recording right now to some of our supporters. It's something that I had the idea. It's a purely original idea, and I did not steal it from the XP Waste podcast. That's for certain. So we're trying out the in-studio audience. So you might hear a little bit of people kind of getting involved. Right, that's right. Very interactive stuff. Anyways, we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. I feel like you and I haven't talked about like actual recent updates in like a long, long while. But we got 2 major ones to kind of talk about. We have a new quest that came out, and with it came a new boss, Muspa. I have no idea how it's pronounced. I haven't heard anyone say it yet.
The Phantom Muspa. Yeah, you're pretty close.
Yeah, wicked. And then, of course, today we got a big drop, which was the Wilderness boss rework finally came out after all this time. So that came out today, and I know you haven't touched on it yet. I've had a little bit of experience, but I mean, at least next week we'll have a lot more to talk about once we've been able to dive in. We've had the weekend to get PK'd and do some PVMing. It'll be a good time. But besides that, and there's one other thing. There was like this weird crack the clue thing going on. I don't even know really what it was, but people got like the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like that became an in-game reward for this like riddle I didn't realize people were trying to complete, but somebody did. And with it, they showed like the results, the whole track they did to get this new cosmetic reward. It's pretty wild. So we can talk about that too. Anyways, Heartless, what have you been up to?
Since last week, not too much, just sending necks and doing some combat achievements. I only have 4 tasks left, and I'm done the master combat achievements.
That's pretty good, right?
Pretty sure. Yeah, it's good. It's a good level. You gotta get an Inferno KC without losing pillars, I think. There's a bunch of speed run things on there. So yeah, it's been a good challenge. Yeah, I've had a fun time. Some of them have been ungodly frustrating. And they require a lot of teamwork.
Oh, okay. Is this some of the raid?
Yeah, some of the Toa ones, specifically the Perfect Akka. It took almost 2 hours to complete. You have to do it in a duo, and you can't get hit, and you have to have all the invocations on. So it's brutal, man. Like I had to learn how to stair climb, which is basically, so you basically walk in like you go up and then to the side, up to the side, up to the side, like a staircase pattern to dodge all the special attacks. You know, the memory puzzle that he launches out. So yeah, he launches this memory puzzle, but instead of actually doing it, this is a mechanic where if you walk in a specific pattern, you can just dodge it. And it has to be done because just the way the invocations work out, there's only enough room for one person to maneuver with double trouble, or else you'll just start getting hit by orbs in the middle. So it's really stupid. So it took forever for us to finally get it done, but got it finished. So there's only 4 left. A few of them are team-based. Perfect Verzik is going to be an absolute nightmare.
Wow. That is I don't even think about the combat achievements. I have no idea how hard they are. You say that the master requires the Inferno completed. I'm like, okay, it's over in that category of gameplay.
Inferno completed without losing pillars. So like it's not too hard, but it definitely is challenging. And that's like, there are other challenging things in there as well. Like we had to do an 18-minute TOA speed run, which required basically 5 people with max gear doing like some pretty sweaty strategies. Like Kefri, I don't know if you get, probably some listeners have done some TOA. Kefri took us 45 seconds. It's insane. It was really fun. There have been fun parts. I will say the hardest part of doing it once you have like the skills is having the friends. And I'm pretty lucky that I have a bunch of friends that are gamers, so they can help me out with these tasks.
It's pretty cool. And I love that there's like these I've never even heard of this stair climber strat. But I love when there's like a strategy that has like a specific name, and you can people just like I'm gonna butterfly Akka.
Yeah. That one person butterflies and one person does it's staircase or the stair climb, whatever you want to call it, the stairs. And one person has to butterfly the entire time. It's a crazy method, man. But it was, in the end, it was deeply frustrating while I was doing it. Like my soul was leaving my body. But in the end, I was like super excited.
Does it feel good to complete it when it's like a frustrating?
It was more one of those. It was like relief. It was relief.
Okay, interesting.
So there's still a few tricky tasks that are going to take some strong mental, but I've got the strong mental for sure. So we'll get through it, and I'll report back when I've got the Verzik helm. It's going to be cool.
Is it going to look good? I don't know if I've ever seen it in game. I can't even. Same with the Jad. I have no idea.
One. Jad is like a deep red. And Verzik is purple. I mean, the Jad probably is like looks a little nicer unless you have like full Torva, but the Verzik one is you just don't see it too often, so it's a bit more special.
Interesting. Well, got to grind those cosmetics. So good luck.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
Yeah, good luck on those.
Thank you. So, what about you, man? What have you been up to?
Well, last episode we did our New Year's thing, and then we talked about burnout a bit because we had somebody that called in about how do you like mitigate burnout? And then I mentioned that, we're going to talk about it this episode because I had it in my notes that let's talk about burnout because I was kind of feeling the burnout. But then when I was editing the episode, I realized most of what was going to be said has already been said. So we won't rehash it. But I think I pinpointed one factor that causes me to burn out, which I didn't realize it until I was playing it. So when I get bored, I usually make a new account. It's kind of just what I do. And then I try to play the game differently and put some like arbitrary restrictions on myself. But I decided to play an Iron Man that was only combat. You did no skilling. You only did combat and Slayer. And you restrict yourself from gaining any levels into anything. So that means a lot of quests are off limits. There's a lot of content that you just can't do. Like you can't go do Gauntlet because that requires Song of the Elves, which requires a bunch of skilling to be done. So you can't do stuff like that. And the idea seemed really cool because combat's one of my most favorite things in this game. So let's make an account where it's only combat. And some of the thing that kind of like turns me off from Iron Man is a lot of the like resource management. So in my head, if I play an account where half the resources just aren't available to you, boom, you can't get stuck in this cycle of having to keep all your resources stocked up. Even though I know that's like a foolish way to think because you would get stuck there probably you can buy like tuna potatoes or whatever from
cheesy potatoes.
Cheesy
my boys
potatoes.
Know those cheesy
that's
potatoes. All my ultimate Iron Man out there. I have a friend I used to do a lot of TOB, but he doesn't play much anymore. But he used to be so down bad for food that he would come into TOB with like 6 cheesy potatoes. So he would do some crazy strategies to try and preserve his food until he got to the second chest. It's crazy.
That heals well, and they're easy to get because you can buy them straight from the Warriors Guild. So that's something I could do on that Iron Man account. So I was like, that sounds fun. Let's play it. I bonded it up. I started doing some quests, started playing it, and I was like having a good time. And the account it's not like super unique. There's a lot of people who do play that style of account, and they even call it an 807 account because 807 total level is what you would end up with if you maxed that account. So it's popular enough that it has its own name. And when I was like looking through, kind of trying to find some, maybe some tips or some cheats for the account, like what are some cool tricks that I should know, I found that there's like a big community that does play the 807 accounts, and it's so big that it has its own Wikipedia page. And then when I stumbled across a Wikipedia page, it had laid out the most efficient route, like the path to like get to the end game. This is what your armor upgrades are going to look like. Here's some of the quests you can do. And just seeing what my end game looks like, it like turned me off from playing it completely. Like my account was like really low. It's like level 30 maybe. And so I'm not even that far along. But then seeing that like this is the best gear I can get, for some reason it like really demotivated me. And it's not so much that I looked at the gear and I was disappointed, but I think I was disappointed because there wasn't a lot of like problem solving that I had to do to figure out what is my end game goal going to look like. Once I knew I could just go to a Wikipedia page and it's all going to be displayed there for me, I think it kind of ruined a bit of the fun for it. So, and then I haven't played it since, which is like a strange thing.
Part of that is like the organic journey, right? That you want to go on. Just like basic Iron Man is pretty organic. I mean, you can follow a guide up to a certain point if you want to, and then you kind of just do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And like, sure, like the end game might be get all the items or like, I don't know, whatever you want, like max, who cares? Like you may end up taking some similar paths to other players, but the way you go about it and the drops you get in what order is all unique to you. So,
and I think once I knew that, I was doing some reflecting, and I also, in preparation, I looked up like different guides on just the internet of like, how do you mitigate video game burnout? And they weren't a lot of them just said stop playing it. But that wasn't the problem that I was facing. It wasn't that I needed to take a break from the game. It's that I needed to find something refreshing to do. And I think part of what I find refreshing is like exploring this game that I've spent so much time in already, but then knowing that I don't need to explore it because other people have, kind of takes some of the fun out of playing these unique accounts. And I think that's why I really enjoyed playing a UIM, because a lot of it was like I had to sit down and just open up 50 different Wikipedia tabs on my browser, go through different parts of the game to see what, like, it's a puzzle. What can I do? What can't I do? And part of that was kind of fun. And then hitting these walls and trying to figure out, well, how do I get around this wall? So yeah, anyways, I think I put a little bit of like where the burnout comes from a bit. It's when I guess I feel like I'm not really like exploring or learning anything new about the game. And then just being a high level, my account is 2,227 total levels. So I'm 50 levels away from maxing. I've got over 6,000 hours of playtime. It's kind of hard to find things to learn and explore in the game. And so I think that's where I pinpoint part of my burnout is when I'm just doing these things out of repetition because I have nothing to really explore because I've maybe done it, or maybe there's something preventing me from wanting to do it. Like PVM is a big one. There's a lot of room for growth when it comes for PVMing with me. Like I can do a lot of PVM bosses, but I'm not that good at it. I don't even know what a stair climbing method is.
Don't trust me. You don't want to know. You don't need to know. You definitely don't need to know.
So I think a big part of the game is the sense of like exploring things, which it gets in this weird spot when you don't really have to explore things anymore. Do you feel that where you're not doing like? Do you feel like you're doing new things on your account still, or is everything feeling a bit not stale, but
yeah, there's definitely always stuff to do. Like I enjoy the repetition of it too. I think part of it for me is enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing something over and over again. If there's like a reward you're going for, or just like getting a little bit better at it every time. Part of it is that's pretty important to me. Like I wouldn't mind doing like I've done 500 chambers of Xeric.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting better every time I do it. So there's like progression, and I do enjoy that to some extent. So as long as there's like suitable rewards for me to go for, then yeah, it's cool. And it has like an end date theoretically, right? Because I could complete it. It's like I'm doing that forever with like, no potential rewards or anything. But Yeah,
When
I
you-
don't know. I don't mind it. Don't mind it. And that's not really what burns me out.
What does burn you out?
It's a good question. And I'm not sure I have the answer. I guess if I think back to League, what burned me out was doing things without friends was pretty tough. So not staying in touch with my friends, like playing too much solo queue, feeling frustrated with the game, like I wasn't going anywhere. Whereas with like RuneScape, there's always progression, so I don't get that same frustration.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it. And there's always, I talked last week about like goal setting is big for me. There's always things to be done, and there's always things I'd happy to do in the future. So I think I don't burn out as easily for those reasons.
Interesting. That's League. I suffered from something similar. I usually play by myself because playing with friends, it was either League of Legends is a weird game because if you get like hyper competitive where you want to go up in the ranks, playing with friends can be a conflict to that goal if your friends aren't as good as you or something, like, or if you're not as good as them, like somebody's holding the other one back a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
That gets a little bit tricky, but
So that can happen in RuneScape, but not to the same extent. Like it takes a lot longer to learn things, so you're not like holding anyone back.
Mm-hmm. All this to really say is, I go through these weird waves where about a week ago, if we were talking, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm pretty burnt out. But I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good. I've been playing a lot of it. I've been trying some new things. And that's what I realized. I should do some things that are completely, pretty new to me. So I did a little bit of quest speed running just because some of the cosmetics are cool. It's something
what did you think of it?
Is new. It was fun. What we've been doing in the clan is Karma, one of the mods, set up this this little Hall of Fame thing that people can compete for the best records in the clan. So people have been kind of competing for PVM personal bests, like how fast you kill a boss. But we have categories for quest speedrunning. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get to the top of some of these quest speedruns. And so I was doing Cook's Assistant, and that was one I had done before too, but it was really fun. Like I was on YouTube looking up guides of how you can shave off a few more seconds, and man, people do some really cool stuff. Like, did you know if you're in combat with a chicken for like X amount of time, they like lay an egg?
No, I did not know that. That's strange.
It's something weird like that. I didn't know that either.
So can you like drag a chicken down with an alt and then pick it up?
That's what people did. They dragged it right in front of like the path they had to walk, and then it would lay an egg. They'd grab it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, some really cool stuff there. So yeah, you need a pot of flour. So most of us would go to like the wheat field and process that into a pot of flour. But nope, if you want to do it as fast as possible, you try to one hit an imp, and then you hope that RNG gives you that pot of flour because they can drop a pot of flour. So if you really want to go fast,
I guess you could get an alt to like get everything down to 1 HP, and then you just tag
you
them
get
all.
an alt and you just shave all the imps down to 1 HP. So it was pretty cool, but I spent a whole night doing the Cook's Assistant trying to get into the platinum category, and it was pretty fun. And I think I'm going to try some of the other ones as well.
But Dragon Slayer looks fun.
That one's going to be interesting. That one is going to be interesting. It was kind of cool to go and like see all these different techniques when it comes to speed running. I really like watching people speed run things, and I like getting a bit of the behind the scenes. There's a YouTube video about one of the Mario levels where it like stumped speedrunners for the longest time, and then he talks through the origin of how people were able to overcome it and all the techniques that found out. And it's like really cool stuff. Like even playing Mario on like a different type of TV can like enable like different exploits that allow you to shave off time. It's pretty cool stuff. So yeah, bit of quest speed running. We retire the Iron Man that barely begun. And then of course today spent a little bit in the wilderness because we got the new wilderness bosses out. So I definitely had to try that out, but we can talk about that in a minute. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we head on over to the news?
No, let's get into it.
All right. So before we talk about the update we got this week, let's rewind a week and we'll talk about what we got last week. So far, January's been pretty good to us. We got a new quest called The Secrets of the North, and we got a new boss called the Muspa. How would you pronounce that, Heartless?
Phantom Muspa.
The Phantom Muspa. So yeah, we got these two dropped on us last week, and I did do the quest. You did the quest as well, right?
Yes.
You spacebarred through it.
Absolutely. Smashed through. Wiki and smashed through. Did you pay attention? Did you try and do it without a guide? As per your usual way?
No, I did. I sat down and did it without a guide. That's something that I tell myself I'm going to do with every new quest that comes out, because it ends up being a lot of fun. I never regret it. If anything, I regret some of the quests I did speed through. So one of my things that I keep wanting to do is go play RuneScape 3 and do all the quests there without a guide, just so I can experience that stuff. But overall, quest was pretty good. I've said before that I don't really like the writing in this game. I find it kind of boring and dull, and sometimes I can't tell if it's like the text font we have that make it hard to read or something. But I usually like when I was doing A Kingdom Divided, it's very dialogue heavy, and the concept of the quest was awesome. I really liked the story they were trying to tell, but I didn't like the way they were telling it, and I found it really, really boring. And I was like forcing myself to read it, and every time I thought the quest was going to end, and it just kept going, and I was kind of like not entirely enjoying it, which like I didn't want to happen, because this was like supposed to be like a huge quest. It had a really cool trailer and everything. I just think sometimes the dialogue isn't good in this game. But for this quest, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was pretty friggin' good. The two main characters of the quest, I'm going to spoil a little bit of it. They're two Majorets. They're one of them is General Khazard, and I forget the name of the other one, but he ended up getting summoned from the Haziel cult.
Wasn't Haziel the other one? Like the skeleton guy?
Maybe.
I can't remember. Whatever. Those two dudes.
Yeah, so there's two Majorette that the quest kind of has you following, or they're following you and they're interacting a bunch. And it's really setting up this Desert Treasure 2 that's going to come out down the road. And I actually really liked the two characters. They had like a funny banter back and forth. They had like, General Khazard was always like just kind of a grumpy Gus the whole time. You faced him during the what is it? What quest is it?
Fight Arena.
Yeah. And you fight his dog and stuff. So you face him in the Fight Arena, and so he's the character from that. And his I don't know, I thought it was really fun, the dialogue the two of them had together. So I ended up really, really enjoying the quest. The puzzles were good. One thing I hate about some of the older quests is when you're doing the puzzles, you click and then everything stalls for a minute and then the actions happen. So there's like a bit of a delay and it just feels very clunky when you're having to push a bunch of buttons in the game. This one was very smooth, so the puzzles were awesome. Except for the puzzle at the very end. I did use a guide for the puzzle at the very end because that shit is fucking hard. And I have no idea how people can solve some of the puzzles that Jagex has two types of puzzles. They're super solvable, where a plugin just tells you exactly what to click and do, and you turn your brain off and it's done. Then there's the other quest where it's like nobody can solve the other puzzles that nobody can solve. And it's like one person can solve it and they tell everyone else. And then you're sitting there wondering like, how the hell did that person solve it? So this quest kind of had something like that at the very end. I mean, there's probably people listening that were like, it wasn't that hard, but I struggled. Anyways, quest was finished. And then with it came this boss, the Muspa. It's a new solo boss, which has been pretty well received. What are your initial impressions of the Muspa?
So it's a farmable solo boss. Pretty easy to kill, even in respect like reasonable gear, like rune crossbow, Bofa, kind of trident level gear. So you can kind of like Zulrah. It's pretty similar to Zulrah and Vorkath. It has a couple more mechanics, so it's pretty fun. It has some interesting phases. And it's a bit of a cash cow. It just drops a lot of money. Quite a boatload of money. It was like 6 mil an hour day one. But obviously, as it drops this guaranteed essence, which is used to charge the Venator bow, which is kind of its unique item. But of course, the Venator bow is hot garbage right now.
It's this bow that's meant. Well, it does. It's this bow that attacks like adjacent enemies, right?
Yeah. So unfortunately, like the projectile speed is a little bit slow for attacking other enemies, and they're just generally worse than Chin's. So it hasn't really found a home yet. But I expect them to buff it, and then it should be quite a bit better. So that's kind of like the main unique. There's a couple side uniques, but then you can use 150,000 essence, and it drops between 500 and 2,000 essence per kill. And you can use that essence to charge an imbued heart and saturate it into the saturated imbued heart, which is an absolutely bonkers item. It's ridiculous. So imbued heart was already good. It basically boosts your magic level by 10 if you're at 99. But with the saturated heart, it no longer ticks down. So it has a divine effect where it lasts for 5 minutes. They reduced the cooldown from 7 minutes to 5 minutes, which is crazy. So you can be constantly boosted at 100. And then they added 3 extra magic levels. So now instead of 109, you're boosted to 112, which is like an extra max hit or 2, depending on your gear. And you don't even take damage like you do with regular divine potions. You don't take 10.
Right.
So like all of these small incremental things added to the heart means it's a crazy item. Ridiculous.
It seems like that's what people are kind of chasing after.
The dust for, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just generally good money, right? Like it's kind of like Zulrah. Like you go there for the uniques and the pet and stuff, but ultimately you do just get a bunch of money while you're grinding the boss. And even to this day, I think right now it's like 2 mil an hour, so it's almost twice as good as Zulrah.
Wow. Yeah, it suffered from a few nerfs already just to reduce its drop table, I guess. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty cool fight. Nothing is super groundbreaking or new, I would say.
I think the prayer thing is like where you have to basically smite the prayer. You have to smite him.
Yeah. There's a phase where he throws up the soul split prayer. So this is one of my gripes, and this is what kind of annoys me about RuneScape sometimes. But so there's this prayer, or it's actually a curse that was released in like 2010 and 2011 in RuneScape 3, and it's got a bunch of these new overhead prayers. We're starting to see those pop up with some monsters in this game. So Nex has a few that have the new overheads, and then Muspa has one as well. And you have to basically smite and reduce the prayer of the boss in order to remove this like soul split overhead. Now, my problem that I don't like is if you're brand new to old school RuneScape, you're not going to know what soul split does. You won't even know what the overhead means. I only know what it means because I think I've heard like probably somebody told me. But you have no information what that overhead is granting to the boss, and there's no way to find it in game that I know of. So you kind of have to go to the wiki. So I don't really like that, but it is kind of cool to see.
You have to go to the wiki for a lot of stuff in this game, so it doesn't really bother me.
I just and I think, and people are starting to talk about it more and more. I think where with every update, we have a chance at getting some. Like a change of how an item works in one place or another. And it's getting to the point where we have a lot of items where things work differently depending on where you are. And it can just get confusing.
That's poor game design though. Like the shadow just being 4 times in tombs, but 3 times everywhere else. Like that to me is just kind of poor game design. It should just be universal everywhere. That's like kind of a crutch fix to make it better. Or the Fang being, being nerfed everywhere, but unchanged in Toa. Those kind of things.
It's very strange.
It doesn't really make sense where it's like bugged in Toa. So you're like, oh man, my DPS is way higher than it should be. But it's a bit of an odd, it's a bit of a band-aid fix for items. But I guess when you have a game this big and complicated, sometimes you just need to slap a band-aid on a few things.
That is right. But with this new Musp, to us, it looks like this weird slug-looking beast. It looks pretty cool, but if you're a RuneScape 3 player, you have a bit more context of the lore behind this character. So let's take a quick minute, go down lore lane. Somebody on Reddit actually made a post sharing what the Phantom Muspa is, because it's something that is in RuneScape 3. And I thought it was really neat when I was reading it. I was like, that's fucking cool. I want to play some RuneScape 3. So it says, this is from Ninja Gamer 1337, the Elite Ninja Gamer, aka Lorehound. And he says, the Muspa are creatures brought into the world from the nightmares of Ma, who is an elder god and one of the 5 beings that created the universe. Ma was stillborn and believed to be dead, so she was abandoned by Fernesque. In this isolation, she created Zeros, Saren, and the Majret. The Ma from Majret, that's where it comes from, the god Ma, or the elder god. In her isolation, she had nightmares during this time and accidentally made the Muspa as a result. The reason it's so strong is because it's literally made by a god of gods. But here's the kicker. What we fight isn't even a real Muspa. It is a phantom / disguise by someone named Jahalan. So it's a beast that is literally conjured into reality from the nightmare of an elder god, and the one you fight isn't even the real one. It's like a weak, shitty version of it. So, and this is the Reddit user saying this. I hope it helps. This creature is fucking terrifying. It's not a real one. Real ones are like 10 times stronger, and there are apparently multiple real ones somewhere in this universe.
Do you think that's what we'll get for Desert Treasure 2?
It could be.
Just the slug, but just like 4 different colors, 10 times as big, and the drop table is the same, but 10 times more. I'm just joking.
Exactly. And you can dual wield the Venator bow. What are they called? Venator bows?
The Venator bows, yeah.
You can dual wield them. It's going to be friggin' awesome. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And we're starting to get, when we talk about lore, we're starting to get like more hints towards these elder gods, because really we're not really supposed to know the elder gods exist. RuneScape 3 is like set in the future. They already know the elder gods exist. Shit's actually going down in RuneScape 3, where it's like the apocalypse is going to happen one day. But for us, like, we only really knew it from the Tazar race because they worship the elder gods. They've been around for so long. They like know of at least one of the elder gods. And we've seen one of the relics. I think it was the stone of, I have to look back it up, but during the Temple of the Eye quest, we see a relic of one of the elder gods, which was pretty cool, but we didn't quite know it at the time. Anyways, it's fun going down the lore a little bit. I like when people tell me about the lore, like through Reddit or something, because they're always excited to talk about it. In the game, I like just read it and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then somebody else tells me, no, this shit's friggin' cool. That happens to me with a lot of things. I like when somebody is like telling me how cool something is. But then when I'm like when I watched Dune, or when I read the book Dune, I was like, yeah, this is interesting. I thought it was okay. But I've watched a ton of YouTube videos of people retelling parts of the book to be like, no, you misunderstood what this is. So I get excited for like lore and world building stuff. But anyways, that's the Muspa. And is there anything else you want to mention before we talk about the juiciness that came with the new bow?
Well, let's talk about the juice.
So of course, there's always something. And this time, the Venator bow, which is this bow that will hit multiple targets. And Heartless, as you mentioned, people don't really know why this is good or where this will be good. So I guess it's just like really cheap, not used too often. But one place that people were like, oh, I could actually use this was at Barbarian Assault. But the community was shocked when Jagex came out with the new bow, and they said right away, this is banned from Barbarian Assault because they've talked to Barbarian Assault leeching clans, like the services that will, or I guess the more competitive, I guess they labeled it as the hardcore Barbarian Assault players, but a lot of them they do Barbarian Assault services where you pay like 50 mil. We'll get you your torsos. We'll get you your level 5s for you really easily. They didn't want this bow to be used in Barbarian Assault because I think it would have like made it harder. It would have made Barbarian Assault easier, which kind of goes against their whole
It's their whole thing of carrying people. Roll. Better cue the music for this one, Dills. People know that Barbarian Assault Leech clans they make a lot of money off the torsos. We're talking, I think it's like 40, 50 mil for a torso, which, not very much, not many hours of work. So these people are making, 13 to 20 mil per hour. They carry people to their level 5s. They carry people to get their pet rolls, their high gambles. So these people are going all day, playing 10 hours a day, making 200 mil a day off Barbarian Assault. There's absolutely no way they are not real world trading most of this gold. These leech sites, you see them pop up in a bunch of discords being like, they advertise hard, so they obviously have connections in high places. And I do not doubt that they have connections inside of Jagex, which is why they lobbied so hard against the Venator bow coming into the game, or at least being usable at Barbarian Assault. Now, my suspicion is because Best in Slot at Barbarian Assault, if anyone watches Bodhi, who's been doing a little bit, talks about Barbarian Assault, you'll know that Best in Slot there is the Third Age bow, an item that costs nearly 1 billion coins. So I have a suspicion that these people are not only real world trading, are going to have their livelihood / business, however shady it is, affected, but I also think they've invested a shit ton of money in Third Age bows. And now they've lost a lot of money because of this new bow coming into the game, or, theoretically might lose money. Therefore, they lobbied using all their friends in high places, which they obviously have because of how well they're displayed on like different discords. I think they lobbied super hard and obviously got what they wanted, which was the bow removed from Barbarian Assault. They must have. It's another case of the inside job, Dills. It happens every time.
It's a weird problem, I think, isn't it? It's like Jagex is they're so connected with the community, so much so that they're too connected to some.
They could be sometimes. Anyways, they obviously got what they wanted, and you can continue the story from here. You can end the music now.
End the music. Well, it is one thing that always, we'll keep it going for a minute, because one thing that always, go to like any massive RuneScape community, tons of them advertise other channels. Some other server will pay, and then you'll find there's like an advertising channel. I'm looking at one now, and it's got like,
yeah, and the three most common ones would be Leech BA. They're everywhere because it's not technically not illegal. Like, it's not against the game rules to be carried and to pay in-game money for services. I don't think that, it's a service, but it's not like they're logging into your accounts. I'm pretty sure it's totally fine to go with them. So, and then, but I suspect real world trading. But then there's often like corp boosting is another one that's pretty commonly advertised in these discords. Also, again, not illegal. You're paying people like 600 mil an hour to get corp kills, get like 60 an hour or something. I don't know how much you're spending. You're spending a boatload of money. And then they're all looking for like high-end clientele, but I guess the Leech BA are looking more for like, I guess their high-end clientele is probably people going for pets, and they'll probably make the most money off them. And then what's the third one? The third one would be like like shady things, like account services, or stuff like that, Inferno capes or whatever, like the shady side of the game. Whereas these are like legal, but if you peek under the rug, something's not quite right under there.
It's crazy, and it's like the amount of money, like GP, and I have no idea. This is all
the music's rolling. We're just going with the flow.
Yeah, we can go. Yeah, this protects us legally, I think.
It legally protects us.
Yeah, someone told me that. But like, how much money is being passed around when it comes to like real world trading? Like, these servers that are probably cost a lot of money to use for their boosting services. So they're making enough money that they can pay this Discord server to advertise their channel for like a month. And then that Discord server, who's getting that money? Is it the admins? What do they do with this money? Like every month there's like new advertising for servers. There's got to be like a lot of, I would love to know how much gold. I would love to be a fly and on their web browser. No, I don't want to do that. But I would love to know how much money is being passed around. Not even in game, but these are all things taking place kind of outside the game on Discord and stuff. It is quite interesting. But
Crazy.
Anyways, so from my understanding, the Venator bow, the Jagex backtracked on it, and they said, you know what, we'll make it usable in Barbarian Assault.
Good for them. I'm proud of them.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got a new boss, we got a new quest, we got a new weapon and the Saturated Heart. What we also got from this boss, which is expected, if one thing Jagex is consistent with, it's the music, and this song is friggin' good. When it plays. Oh. When I heard this and I was doing the boss, I was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
It's
it's a good track. The boss, like, overall is really well designed. I love the fight. I think it's pretty fun.
It's a good fight. It's
challenging, be punishing enough, but not too hard to pick up on the mechanics. They're fairly simple. So yeah, I think overall it's a good boss to learn some RuneScape things.
Yeah, it's a good one. Go try it out and friggin' put on some damn music, 'cause it's fucking awesome. Oh, that's good. We'll play the rest for the outro song, but what a when I listened, I was like, gosh, Jagex, you son of a bitch, you've done it again.
You've done it again.
Fuck, that's pretty good. But anyways, that was the Musp. The Muspa.
Did you manage to get some kills there?
I got a few kills. Not as much as I should have, having a week to do it. I just didn't have as much time to kill it.
Fair enough.
But I had a few. It was a fun boss. There's a lot of kiting involved, which I'm not actually super into, but it's not bad.
They've changed that now. Worse. They reverted it so you can just step back away from the boss. You don't have to kite it anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a new mechanic where basically if you step back on the tick before that it's about to attack, it will walk forward and only hit you for a 0 if you're playing melee. So you just kind of have to feel out the timing, and then you just kind of step back every time it's about to do that. So there's no need to freeze it or anything. It wasn't like that for a few days, but they reverted it back to its original state. So now you can step back. I managed to get 200 KC.
So, wow, that's a fair bit.
Respectable amount in a couple weeks, right? Because it's been out for 2 weeks now, or maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've banged out a couple hundred KC, just enough to get my heart, my imbued heart dusted or saturated.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's been fun. And it was good. I didn't get any. I only got one Venator shard. They're like 1 in 100. And I got it from a frozen cache. So it has this drop on its table where you can get a frozen cache, and then the frozen cache will roll the drop table again. It's kind of like a meme. I don't even know why it's there.
Okay.
But out of the frozen cache, it's like 1 in 500 to get a shard, and I pulled one. So it's really weird.
Oh, wow.
And then it drops the Ancient Icon, which is an upgrade to the Ancient Staff, which is a really, really good item.
Right, we didn't even talk about that.
And it fits the niche. It deals like it makes your freezes last longer. In my opinion, it's actually like a sneaky PvP update because it's going to be best used on like Iron Man, low level Iron Man, and in PvP. So it's a good weapon though. It's definitely worth a good attachment. It's definitely worth going and getting if you're like anyone and you can't afford a Nightmare Staff or a Kodai wand. It sits in between there, and it's basically free, right? Because it's 1 in 50. It's not too bad. Couple hours of your time, right? If you have max gear, or if you're like a lower level, maybe like 3, 4, or 5 hours to get through the KC. So yeah, I definitely recommend picking one up.
It's very cool stuff. And on that same note, today we have a new update dropped on us as well. reintroducing 3 bosses that we already know and love. Maybe some of us might like them. We got the Wilderness boss rework introduced, which brought Callisto, Venenatis, and Videon. It kind of put a fresh coat of paint on them and really moved things around. So this was a problem way back in like 2015 or some 2014, way back when old school RuneScape was still pretty new. They realized that the Wilderness was dying, and I think they're like, oh, we have to like do something to. There's no reason to go into the Wilderness. People used to just go into the wildy to fight each other because that's where people were, because everyone was just fighting each other. It was like the cycle that existed just because of fun. There's no reason to be out in the Wilderness. But hey, people were doing it. I think they encountered a problem that like maybe not as many people are in the Wilderness, and the Wilderness is a huge piece of land, and there's like not much, like especially back then, there was not much to do in the Wilderness. So I think Jagex wanted to like freshen it up by bringing new activities that were throughout the Wilderness, and the best way to bring more people into the wildy was by introducing skilling and PVM methods. Not so much PvP stuff. They're like, let's focus on PVM stuff. And then in their head, they're like, we're going to make this food chain where PVMer comes to kill bosses because it's good money. PvPer kills that person. And then a bigger PvPer kills that person, and etc. Now, the problem was they just threw these bosses in the Wilderness, and they were kind of just like out in the open, and they could wander around in this like little area. But what people found out was like, hey, I can lure all these bosses into spots where they can't hit me, but I can hit them. They basically like broke the boss, and you could safe spot it.
Yeah, because they were unkillable by them. So like Callisto can stack you for over 100 health in one tick. Same with Venenatis. It's stupid. They're so strong. They're meant to be like multied, right? Like killed in with big teams.
Yeah, they're meant to be doing it with a group of PVMers, but then like PVMers are like, why? It's not that good of money. Like it was okay when they were first released, but I mean, it's not good. They weren't bosses to group kill, because I mean, just go somewhere else. Go to like Bandos. Go somewhere else that you'll get more money.
Yeah,
and
the dragon pickaxe is not worth the. The juice ain't worth the squeeze, as they say.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, people found a way to break them so you could solo them, and they became like really AFKable bosses. I did like 1,500 Venenatis kills because you could safe spot them, and it became so AFK, and it was so easy to teleport away if PKers showed up. It was busted, and it turned out to be really good money per hour. So anyways, that was like years ago. Today, Jagex is like, let's fix that. And they reintroduced these bosses in a new way. So instead of them just like wandering out in the open, they're now in their own little lair. There's like a dungeon you can go to. And they've reworked the bosses, so they look a little bit different visually. They have new items added to their drop table, and they have new mechanics as well. They're not crazy, but it's just a bit of a different fight. And then the way the loot works is different too. So each boss, there's a solo version and a group version, because people were like, I don't want to be forced to have to group boss. I want to be able to solo it. So like, fine, we'll make 2 versions of each boss. If you want to go solo it, go fight the weaker version that has worse loot. It's in lower Wilderness. If you want to do it in a group, go to this boss. And they made the loot work similar to like somehow the new bosses do, where anyone who's dealt damage to the boss, you'll get some loot. So it makes group bossing a lot better than just one person getting the drop and then hoping they split you out. Yeah, and they all look a little bit different. So yeah, that came out today. I've only had a little bit of experience with it. I did a little bit today before work. But I will say, first impressions, pretty good. It seems like a really good update. I'm really excited for the weekend to try more of it.
Sweet. I just got home from work, so I have yet to try, obviously. It's not been perfect for me, but I'm really looking forward to the Revenants update that happened, and just the weapons in general.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a few items that came with it. So each of the Revenant weapons, there's the crossbow, the Themeron scepter. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Thamarin Scepter.
Yeah, Thamarin Scepter. And then there's the, oh my God, what's
The
what's
Vigora's
name of it?
Chainmace.
The Vigora's Chainmace. Gosh, it's getting late over here. So those all come from Revs, but what they've added is you can get this new attachment to the weapon, and it like gives it a special attack. And for the mage weapon itself, it gives it the ability to charge it like a charged staff, like the trident and stuff. So it really makes these weapons better. They look cooler too. And then we got another weapon. I don't know how this passed the pull blocks. This one's confusing. But we also got a new weapon called the Void Waker, which is a new sword. If you played RuneScape back in the day, people calling this the Karazi rapier. I think it was the Karazi rapier. This is apparently like similar in stats. It's actually better in stats, but the special attack is apparently a little bit worse. But it's this new melee weapon that allows you to attack with a magic-based melee attack with its special attack. It's kind of similar to like the blessed the blessed Saradomin sword, if you're familiar with it. But what makes this cool, if you're PKing and you're fighting someone and they're in full melee armor, you can just, if you want to spec them out, you can just put the spec on and it's going to do a magic attack.
Like
and
it's truck too. Yeah.
It's going to shred right through it.
Yeah. I can't believe this one passed the poll either. I think the only reason it did is because the spec is like 65% or something. But obviously with Lightbearer, it's going to be in a long, prolonged fight. It's going to be a crazy tool. I guess it depends what price it settles at, whether or not it's used a ton. Because you've got like PKers already have they typically, I find PKers now are risking the Zerite crossbow as like their big plus one, because it's like 400 mil. Because you can spec with that. That thing just hits so hard, right? So that's kind of been the go-to. And then, they'll risk like AGS or whatever, AGS 2. But it's interesting. It's gonna throw a wrench into the works. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. It's I'm not sure how it passed, but hey, it did. I haven't dealt with it yet. I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm sure I'll get PK and I'll be like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
But one thing that people didn't like a lot of PVMers, or like skillers, or anyone who just like wasn't a PvPer, I guess, and maybe even some PvPers, but they didn't like that in order to get a skilling item, the Dragon Pickaxe, you were forced to kill some of these bosses for a chance to get it. For a while, it was like exclusively only on the Wilderness table. So that was a big complaint. Jagex realized, okay, let's maybe spread it out a little bit. So they did. You can now find the Dragon Pickaxe on the Kalphite Queen drop table, which I think is really cool because Kalphite Queen is kind of a shit boss for the loot you actually get.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So adding this is pretty nice. And then they're also adding it to the Volcanic Mines, which is like this mining game that's like winter. It was supposed to be kind of like Wintertide. That's what I remember when they pitched it. That's what everyone was thinking.
Yeah,
it ended up being. No, I've heard it's fun, but
it's
the problem
fun,
is
there's no rewards really. That's the real problem, in my opinion. It's a fun mini game. I've done it quite a bit. I've done a fair bit of it. But you could, in a couple hours, you could green log the collection log. So I think this is going to make it pretty active. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, it should be nice because that's my problem. I go to the mass world and nobody's doing it. So you're like, okay, how do I get points? And then you realize it's the stupid, cheesy method. The Dragon Pickaxe is also found on the King Black Dragon. They've made it more common to get from a drop there, which is nice.
Yeah, it's good. 1 in 1,000 now instead of 1 in 1,500. So yeah, it's respectable change.
And then the last thing is the Rev weapons itself. They're really hard to get. Like they're very rare. And they didn't want because in order to make the new the new Wilderness weapons, you need the weapon from Revs, and then you need the attachment from the new bosses. But I think the problem they're worried about is like when you look at the best ranged boots in the game, where you need to get this crystal and then the Picasian crystal, and you need to attach it to ranger boots. The Picasian crystal ends up being like 50K because it's so much easier to get than ranger boots. So in order to all the money is behind the ranger boots, not the crystal. I think they didn't want all the money behind this new bow being stuck on the rev weapons. They wanted it to be a little bit more balanced, so they made the rev weapons a little bit easier to get.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Overall, I think the bosses are pretty great. I think they feel like I've only done like maybe 10-15 kills.
Sorry, would you be able to restart that? I'm just gonna run to the bathroom while you talk about the bosses, if that's okay.
Yep, sounds good.
I'll be back in like a couple minutes, or like a minute.
Cool,
I'll be quick. I'll be quick.
No problem. Yeah, we'll get through this. It's almost 10 o'clock over here, so I do need to wrap up soon because I'm getting tired. As soon as like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock hits, I get really friggin' tired. Like I can't like midnight hits, I'm out. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but like I go play cards on Saturdays at someone's house sometimes, and I'll get there and it'll be like 11 o'clock at night, and they're all like, all right, we're just getting started. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking dying. I'm going to bed now. Guys, what happened to me? I used to stay up until 5 a.m. I remember being a kid playing RuneScape at my dad's house because he had internet. My mom didn't. But so when I went to my dad's house, I got as much out of it as I could. And I remember being in the wilderness, getting a hard clue because I loved doing clues back in the day. And I still love doing them now. And I remember just being like, okay, one more clue, and then I'll go to bed. One more clue, and then it's like 5 a.m. And then you get that second wind. My grandma always called it the second wind. And I thought that's like what everyone called it, but I said it to my wife the other day. Not the other day, but I've said it to my wife, and she's like, what the hell are you talking about? What's the second wind? But you get your like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. second wind, and you're wide awake, and there's no going to bed. You go to bed at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., you fucked up hard. So yeah, that happens. Anyways, random tangent. Yeah, the wilderness bosses, they are lots of fun. I did about 10-15 kills today before work with a few people in the clan, and it was very busy from both a PVMer and a PvPer standpoint. So, or perspective. Standpoint, is that even standpoint even a word? But it was cool. So you'd go into a world. I was doing Vetteon, and there would be a bunch of PVMers already there. Like, cool. So you're all killing it together. And then a bunch of PvPers would show up. You scatter and run, and you hope you don't get picked out. I usually stood my ground thinking we were all going to gang up on the PvPers. But no, we're like gazelles. Hold on, what is it? The Montreal Gazette. Isn't that an animal? We're all gazelles. There's a YouTube video. I forget what it's called, but there's like these lions, and they're attacking water buffalo, and the lions grab the baby water buffalo, and people are filming it and they're freaking out. Oh my God, the baby buffalo is going to die. And they start attacking it. They're biting it. And I guess they're really confident they got it killed, so they don't finish killing it. They're like, we'll just leave this thing alive and we'll finish eating it later. It looks, whatever. And then a crocodile comes up, boom, snaps the other side of the water buffalo, and they're playing tug of war now. It's pretty friggin' wild. You might have seen the video because it's pretty popular. And then what happens next? A stampede of water buffalo come back to get back the baby water buffalo. And they do. They all move and they push the lions off, and they save the water buffalo. That's what I thought we were going to do as PVMers, but we didn't. Everyone scattered and run, and then I get fucking killed every time. Yeah, the classic move. But doing it, I had the thought that like this is one of the true multi bosses in this game. I feel like it's a perfect boss. Heartless, if it's like a Friday and we're just chilling and we have an hour to spare, it feels like a great boss to be like, let's just go jump and kill some Vetteon. We both get drops. It's exciting when PvPers show up, and it's like it's got decent enough loot that it's worth doing. Like Sarachnis, I don't know if I could convince people to go to Sarachnis with me. I don't think the loot's good enough there.
Yeah, fair enough. I heard that the clan's been camping Callisto.
Yeah, I think so. I think they come in waves. There's so many worlds that like you would get a few kills in, and you're like, we haven't been PK'd yet. We should leave because like it's got to happen soon. It's only a matter of time till somebody shows up, and then sure enough they do. But it's fun, and the loot's good enough that I could see being like, hey, anyone want to go kill these wilderness bosses for a bit? I don't think we have a lot of multi-bosses like that where everybody gets loot too. You don't have to worry about
One person,
You know.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's another
it doesn't
issue,
happen
too.
too often, does it?
Yeah, like I've done corp with people sometimes and like, oh, anyone can come, let's all show up. And then there's someone there who's a little bit more kitted out than everyone else and they get all the kills and it's fine. You're like, okay, we're going to split anyways. It's not a big deal. But there's something in your head that's like, if I was seeing the loot, it'd be a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Yeah,
this other
for
person's
sure.
getting all the loot. That's okay. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of these bosses and they look really good now. So Heartless, you were showing off your Vedion pet
Mhm.
earlier. I never really liked that pet, but the new version of it looks pretty cool. And the new fight looks fucking cool too. And I got the Venonat pet. Looks awesome now. So anyways, I am really looking forward to this update to actually, like, I'm looking forward to the weekend to be able to sit down and spend time actually trying some of the stuff out. Maybe even doing some PvP too. We'll have to see. But yeah, it should be fun.
Absolutely.
Great stuff. And Heartless, we have our long-lasting bet, or it's a race, to see who will get all the wilderness pets
Yeah,
first.
I gotta get a crossbow for it. I have a chain mace and a Thamarin scepter. Giga spooned on the iron. Giga spooned. Because I've done quite a few revs, maybe like seven or 8,000. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been good. And I'm gonna look for that crossbow. So now it's 5 times easier to get. I'm gonna start sending that.
That's sweet. That's pretty cool. So yeah, very exciting. I don't think there's anything else to really mention there. So that's it. And then the last piece of news is the duelists of Gielinor were treated the other day to a surprise Yu-Gi. What do they call that? Dueling
Dude, the dual deck.
arm thing?
The dual deck.
Is that what it's called? The
Absolutely,
dual
yeah,
deck?
the dual deck.
That's sweet. That's in game now.
It's so cool.
Somebody
man.
discovered it.
The Battle
Yeah,
City
you have-
dual deck. That's from season. Is it season 1 or season 2? I can't remember. In season 1, they're like on the arenas, but I think in season 2, Kaiba, the rich man, comes up with like the dual decks that you can just duel anywhere.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, and then he also put.
And they had those in real life,
Be brutal.
and they were super unrealistic to use because you had to like keep your arm out. You
I just
couldn't move
remember
it.
being a kid and I thought dual. Okay, season 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh is so fucking good. Season 1 is when they're on the island with Pegasus, the guy with like the Millennium Eye. But then in the second season is Battle City when the gods are introduced and there's like the 3 like gods like Ra,
yeah.
Slifer, and then there's another
And
one.
you can like put the 3 of them together.
No, but they were just like they had these like super overpowered things when he got. I remember the Yugi gets the red one. Is it Cypher or Slither? I can't remember exactly, but he when he summons it, I just remember being a kid being like, "Oh my god!" It like wrapped all the way around the blimp. I was like,
Oh shit.
that is peak television right there when you're a kid.
Okay, I'm thinking of the Gate Guardian.
You're thinking of Gate Guardian. That guy was OP as well, but oh my god, actually summoning him in a real game is the most disturbing thing. You'd have to triple tribute summon these average monsters and then fuse them together for like such a medium level card. Oh, the Gate Guardian, dude.
I know you play Magic the Gathering a bunch right now. Did you ever get into Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, I did. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Nice.
For maybe like my first year of college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for about a year. I liked it. It's fun. Yeah, I had some friends that played, so I went to the shop. I had one deck. But it was a little too fast and combo-y for me, and also way too expensive. Not that Magic isn't expensive, but Yu-Gi-Oh was like expensive and it rotated so often. It felt like you would be forced out of metas pretty quickly. So I switched to Magic, and it felt a little bit more easier to take casually.
I've heard they like lean into power creep, where the next set's always better.
It's nuts. Like every deck only has 40 cards, and you can have 3 of every card. And there's just a boatload of tutors, and there are no resources, so everything can just be cast for free. Where at least in a lot of other games, you have to like spend mana or spend at least something to get powerful cards. This game, you just dump them out.
Yeah.
So it's basically just every deck is a combo deck, and you just try and like pop each other before the other person can get you. It's crazy.
It
It was fun while I played, but yeah, I prefer Magic for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. I I can understand. I think Magic is probably more fun to play for me, but I love watching YouTube videos about Yu-Gi-Oh! And watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Card games, because it'll be like one person's turn. They're like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and now you have to discard this, but I'm going to summon this for my graveyard, fusion summon this, I can tree this for my, and it's like a 20-minute turn. And the game lasts
the combos are crazy.
They last like 3 turns, and then the game's over. But the turns are like 20 minutes long because they combo like crazy. And that's really fun to watch. But I would not like to build a deck where I'm trying to figure out all these combos. That just seems too complicated to me. And they also have this thing which is kind of cool. It's called like, and this is related, but they call it like problem solving text, where a card has an ability and it's like 3 paragraphs long, and you have to read it, and it's like it requires like problem solving because it's so complicated what this card can do, or what you need, what the price is to use this card. It'll be like discard this and this, whatever. It's just very complicated. So they call it problem solving, where you need to like figure out properly how does this card work.
Yeah, some of them can be pretty outrageous with their text.
Yeah, so it's it can be a lot. And so we have these.
But anyways, the show was high quality.
I gotta rewatch it. I'm excited for when my son grows up old enough that he can watch anime and stuff, because I'm gonna be like to the wife, I'm sorry, I don't have a choice. This is all he's interested in, and I'm gonna force him to like watch like season 1 of Pokemon.
I think my all-time favorite show is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I've never watched it. I have so many people saying that I need to watch it.
So good, man. It's timeless. It's so good.
I've heard it's good.
Like, even as an adult, you can. I first watched it when I was older too. I was like probably 19, and it stuck with me, man. It's a great show. I think there's a lot of people in the clan that like it too, but
it's very popular.
Would highly recommend watching it.
Yeah, like it seems like a kid's show, but people all the time are saying, no, you would love it. You should watch it today.
It is at its core, it's a kid's show, but there's a lot going on that you can appreciate as an adult, which I think ultimately makes the best children's shows or movies.
I'm excited for Dragon Ball Z. I really liked that when I was a kid. We'll get there one day. But yeah, so the problem solving text, the reason I think it kind of relates is because in order to get this Yu-Gi-Oh, what'd you call it, dual deck?
Dual deck.
Dual deck. In order to get this in game, you need to put this code, and the code's like V1R354, blah, 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 blah. It's very long, and it's just a string of letters and numbers. And the person figured this out on Twitter. And for me, I'm like, oh, what do you mean you figure this out? And they said, oh, hey, here's a whole step-by-step process where we've all been working on it. There's a whole Discord that's been working on this problem. And this is like separate from Crack the Clue. Like, we have this Crack the Clue people are trying to solve. This is something different. So it's another Crack the Clue, but it's not a Crack the Clue. It's something else. So if we rewind time all the way back to Leagues 3, people found these pillars that were found just in the game. And these pillars had like these tarot cards on it. When you examined it gave you a little bit of a riddle or something. It said some sort of text. People went down this friggin' rabbit hole trying to figure out this riddle. And I was like, this is cool. I'm reading it before the podcast. We're going to talk about this on the podcast. Let's see what kind of riddle this was. As I'm reading it, I am so friggin' stupid. Like, I don't understand. I can't explain this on the pod. I was like thinking, like, I can't explain any of this on the podcast because I don't even understand what's going on. Like, they literally would find some sort of PNG online when they typed in this code. Then they would save the file. They'd go into the properties of that file and it would have another code. They would go and it would bring them to a place in the game and they would find something else. And then it goes on and on and on. And you think that, like, okay, that's a lot. It's like 20 pages worth of steps that they've done. And they've done these weird things where they find this like text that has this wave and they change the waveform into an audio file and they use some sort of oscilloscope. I don't know what that is, to kind of look at what the waveform says. And it's a W. I'm telling you, this shit is freaking confusing. Go on Twitter. I'll post it in the description, the person who posted it, but go look at all the steps they've done. It is like, I can't even be like, wow, this is cool, because all of this is so confused. They There was literally, okay, this is fucking insane. There was literally geocaches in
No
real
way.
life. Yeah. Like people found these caches because they'd find these hints and they would be like, translate it. And what did it translate to? It translated to the Cambridge Lighthouse. I'm like, okay, what the fuck does that mean?
Oh,
People go to
So-
the Cambridge Lighthouse
because
and
that's near their office, right?
I guess so. And they find a little Tupperware with a card in it that has a code.
Jesus, that's deep.
That is
I didn't
deep.
expect it to go that deep.
There was a
Holy.
place in New Zealand that people had to go to find it.
Imagine just buying a plane ticket to figure out a riddle so that you can get yourself a dual deck in RuneScape.
Yeah, New Zealand, South Carolina. There was a sundial on the boardwalk. What else was there?
Man, honey, we're gonna go to some interesting places this year for our holiday.
We're gonna go for a nice hike. It's gonna be fun. And then you're sitting there like looking in the grass and like, what the hell are you doing?
Are you playing RuneScape? Yeah, it's good times. That's insane though that it's all over the world as well. I thought it would just be like around Jagex HQ.
It's really cool. And I'm reading it and I'm like, how have I not heard of this being done in the background? Like this team of people are working away. Then it doesn't seem like it's advertised. I didn't hear anything about it until it was solved. But anyways, I want to see somebody make a YouTube video explaining what happened.
I'm sure it will be done at some point.
Yeah, I'm leaving up to the RuneScape 3 YouTuber RS Will Miss It. They always make great videos on stuff like this. So keep an eye out for that.
Nice.
Oh yeah. That's all for the news, I think. Anything else you wanted to chat about before we take a break?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay, we'll take a break then. All right, we're going to take a quick little break and head on over to the Grand Exchange. This is a segment where I basically tell you how you can support the show if that's something you want to do. But every now and then I try to masquerade it as its own segment, talking about the financial scene of OSRS. What I'm really trying to say is something was quite interesting. I should have seen this coming. But with this new Wilderness update, a few items have really gone up in price. Same with the Muspa. The Sapphire Bolts is something a lot of people are using. That shot up in price, and same with Dragon Crossbows. That's expected. It's a quite popular item at Muspa. But the Wilderness items, when you get a Wilderness update, you can kind of see what items to invest into, maybe some PKing supplies, right? That makes sense. What I didn't think of, this was an obvious one, Ranger helmets. Holy shit, are they going up in price? We're talking the God coifs. So, Armadil, Bando, Zamorak, all those coifs shooting up in price. They were usually 60K. They're like 120. They've doubled. They're like 120K now. Archer's helmets, Carol's coifs, all of them. They're just going up so much in price. It's crazy. Every time I go to stock up on more, they've gone up. Like I would go buy some Carol's coifs. I would buy like 5 for 100K. I would die a bunch, lose them all, go back to buy some more like an hour later. I'm now paying like 120K. It was crazy. So yeah, you should have seen that one coming. If you're smart, you see this PvP update coming. The best thing to do is don't invest directly. Do like adjacent items. So don't invest directly into like the Revenant weapons. That could have been a good one, but once it's an obvious one, so people start catching on, you might actually end up losing money because you bought it when it's high and it kind of crashes down a bit. So maybe don't invest in those. Look at the items, around it, like the coifs and all that. That was a smart move. Looting bags would have been a good one to stock up on as well. So that's something I need to get better at. But fuck, man, you could probably make bank knowing like, oh, this new update's coming out. Let's get these items that aren't directly affected, but they are affected. They're just like adjacent. So it's a good move. Anywho, let's move on to talk about how you can support the show if that's something you want to do. We have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. All one word, of course. We've added in a new feature just with this episode, heavily inspired, I mean kind of stolen, from the XP Waste podcast. They did this thing that was really cool. They invited me on their podcast months ago, and we were talking a bit, and they were like, oh yeah, we do this thing with Patreon. And I was like, that's such a good idea. And it was what they did was, for anyone on Patreon, they can listen to the podcast live, which was such a great idea. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while now, but I just never took the plunge until this episode. So if you're on our Patreon, make sure it's linked to Discord. You get access to the Patreon channel, and we record every Tuesday or Wednesday. Keep an eye out for an alert around, it's usually around 7 p.m. EST when we record. So you'll get an alert that we are recording. You can come listen. Another thing we've added as well is we are uploading, I've been a little bit bogged down with work, family, and edits, to be honest. So we record every single week for the most part, but episodes don't always get edited within the week as well. So Heartless came up with the idea, hey, what if we just take the audio and put the raw audio up on Patreon as well. So if you're on Patreon, you can listen to the episodes as soon as they're recorded, basically the next day. And this way you don't have to wait. Sometimes it takes like a week to edit an episode. So we're trying to be more consistent. But anyway, so that hopefully anyone who is interested in that, head on over to Patreon to check that out. Even get a little bit of like extra at the beginning, sometimes at the end, some at the middle that gets cut out of the full episode as well. Whew. Well, anyways, if you are our top tier supporter, you get a shout out every single episode. So thank you to Bronzion, Yofi, Ferric, Strosity, P Jackals, Mallard, Splemo, The Kazi, Yay Fiber, and of course a special welcome and thank you to Das Sasquatch for signing up to Patreon this week as well. Thank you so much for jumping on board. If Patreon's not your thing, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com to make a one-time donation as well. The same rewards aren't quite put on there, but you can just reach out, let me know that you have donated on Buy Me a Coffee, and I will make sure you can listen to the live episodes as well. So just shoot me a message and you will get in. And of course, if you are a big ol' Discord user, they have like a membership thing. I really like it. I use Discord all the time, so for me it's quite beneficial, but it depends on how much you use it. But you can, with this membership, you can boost a server, which gives us some cool perks and a unique URL. So if you want to join the Discord, it's discord.gg/thewilderness. Thank you to Toddy, Barrel, Battle Stabs, Chick, Hey Step Sis, Cosmonaut, Twisted Soul, and Twisted Ooh Woo. What's up with these names, guys? I'm just kidding. Thank you guys so much for boosting that server. Thank you guys for all the support. Anyways, I do this in the mornings. I do my editing in the mornings, which is why things take a little bit longer to get out sometimes. I just don't have time in the evening anymore. And work's about to start. So let's wrap that up now and get me some coffee and start the day off. All right, let's get into the end of the episode. Okay, we are back. We did not have, last week was a special episode, so we did not have a question of the week, but we do have a question of the week this week in Heartless. I'm going to have to ask you to hold your answer until next week, but I want to hear, have you in real life, do you ever have like a story where you said or did something and then you realized my RuneScape life is leaking into my real life my real life. That's a weird sentence to say.
RuneScape is leaking into my real life.
Yeah, like I remember in class one time somebody said, instead of saying I'll have $5,000, they said I'll have 5K GP. They said this in class once and a bunch of people laughed and they were really embarrassed.
That's funny.
I've had a few of those where like I'm on Facebook and somebody just had a kid and I want to type GZ or GZ for us Canadians. And then I don't. But I want to hear callers who did accidentally have a RuneScape moment in real life. Because I got a few in Heartless. You might have some, and we'll hear about it next week. But that's the question of the week. Now this is where we get to plug all of our fun stuff. So if you want to hang out with our clan in-game, Clan Wild, you can just type it in. We do have a fun little competition for the already clan members. If you want to be a Hall of Famer, check it out on Discord and see if there's any records that you think you can beat, be the number one in. And there's a top 5 though. So I'm on the top 5 for something. That's Cook's Assistant Quest speedrunning. Pretty proud of it. Number 5. It's pretty awesome. Clan Wild. If you want to call in, you don't have to call in, but the question of the week, you can call in for whatever it is. There's a SpeakPipe link in the description below. Of course, if you don't want to call in, but you do want to answer or you want to send us something, you can write us an email, thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on Twitter @thewildernessrs. I don't use Twitter that much though. Or you can always drop a message on Discord as well, discord.gg/thewilderness. I don't think I'm missing anything. Heartless, do you have anything you want to plug?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Come join the Discord, come join the clan, and we've got lots of good stuff brewing in there.
That's right. Come hang out. Of course, we do have to pick a song of the week, but you already know what song it is. This is going to be More Than Meets the Eye. It is unlocked during the Secrets of the North quest when fighting the strange creature, which later turns out to be the Phantom Muspa. So that's a great song. Cool. That about does it for us over here at the Wilderness Podcast. I guess we'll see you guys next week.
Take care.